Hello and welcome to lesson 4, I guess. Um, in this lesson, we are going to learn two things: how to manage accounts and manage computers. So it's called computers and account management. So make sure that you have your server up and running, and hopefully you have installed Windows 7 or any other user Windows in the virtual bus, but we'll talk about that when we get to the computer account management. Getting back to the server, let's take a look at the account management first. Okay, the account management is really an object in the Active Domain Services, which is used to help manage the permissions assigned to users on the network. So how do we really create management, account management? How do you create an account and manage them? So go to the bottom of the text where we pinned the task users and computers. Click on it, and you'll see all your users in here. If you remember, we created a John Doe and we created a template user also up here from the last lesson. So here are some containers that you can use. So let's just go and in here within users, right click on users and let's create a group. So go to new and we're going to create a group account. So this is how we create a group management. Now, before we even do anything else, there are two types of groups. One is security and the other one is distribution. Distribution is really has nothing to do with setting permissions to any users or anything like that. What you want to do when you distribution for like email, let's say you want to put a group of people where you can send them, an email or things like that. But mainly we're not going to be doing that. In here, we're going to be really creating group accounts for security purposes. So what we're going to do is we're going to create a group, put a whole bunch of members in there, and then assign the group certain properties or certain rights and privileges. There are three different types of scope. There is the domain local, the global, and the universal. Tell you right now, the only thing that you're going to be leave it on a global scope, a group scope. There's another one called uh, the PC local scope, which is really doesn't exist in here, but that you don't even have to worry about. So let's create a group. Leave everything else the same. So the group name, well, let's call it engineering. And you can see the pre-Windows 2000 will be populated immediately and just create, click on OK. And there's your group that is called engineering right here, a security group. So all you have to do is right click on the group and go to properties. Now, when you go to the group properties, there's a couple of two tabs up here. There's not a lot of tabs. The two tabs that you need to worry about. Actually, right here, you can write a description in the emails and you get all of these notes. But if you go to the members, members means this group, who is a member of this group is what this means. Member of means what groups am I a member of? Okay, so that's the difference that you need to know. So when you go to members and you want to add a member to make sure he's in this group, just click on add. And let's say you wanted to add John Doe. So let's say right in here you type John. And let's say you don't know his last name. You just click on check the names with everyone that has the name John. Well, there it is. It comes up immediately. It found them because you're going to check all the objects. We're checking all the users, containers, service account, everything for anybody that named John, and we listed them. And the only one that came up is John Doe. So you click on OK, and John Doe now is a member of the engineering group. And you just click OK, and he's good to go. See how easy it is? There's another way of creating members into a group. So you can actually go to the user. So let's say I want to go to add, let's assume that this user right here, sales user, the one in the template, you can right click on it and go to add to group, right? So you click on that, and let's say the group that I want is engineering. So I want him to be in the engineering group, and I click on that, and he's already added. So you could do it that way. Go to the user and add to group. If I go to the engineering and right click on that, right click on the engineering group and go to properties and go to members, I see that the sales user is in there too, right? Now, another thing that you need, okay, so do me a favor. Now I want you to take a snapshot, okay, print screen this. This is something that you need to submit to make sure that you can do this, to make sure that you've done this successfully. Now, if you wanted to get rid of users from a group, all you have to do is highlight them, and then you can remove them. And if they got removed, you don't really delete the users, you just delete them from being a member in the engineering group, right? Let me cancel this out. Now, if you have a whole bunch of users that you want to add them to a specific group, so let's say you wanted to add the sales guy, and if you press on the control button and click on John's Doe, you highlight both users, right click, and you can add them to the group. Again, type ENG and check for the name engineering. You already have it. Click, and now they're both are in the engineering group. If I go to the engineering group, go to properties, and I see that the sales and John Doe came in there. That's all we really need to know. There is really not much how you can manage group management, right? So this is how you create a group and manage it. We'll talk about setting securities later on. Okay. What else do you need to know? That's it, really. Just know that you can, let me just get rid of them for now. Let me just delete them and remove them from the group so we don't need them anymore. And that's it. All right, so now let's look at computer account management. How do you create computers? Well, before I get out of there, let me just get back in here. When you click on here, I want you to click on computers, the computers container. When you click on the computer container, well, I already did a tryout of an, an account for my Windows 7 PC, and I already created a computer account. But you should see nothing in there. So take a snapshot to prove that there is no computer accounts in the computer container. So once you're done that, I want you to get out, and then hopefully you have installed Windows 7. So when you installed Windows 7, okay, go in there. Whoops, sorry. I'll go into Windows 7. First thing I wanted, oh, before you even do that, sorry about that. When you go to in here in the virtual box, before you even turn on Windows 7, I want you to click on it, go to settings. I want you to go to network and click on adapter 2. If you have an okay, make sure it's enabled. Make sure that you click on attach to an internal network, and it should say INT-net in here. Okay, then you click OK. This will allow us to have another NIC on this PC. So this PC will have two NICs. Adapter 1 is using NAT that connects us to the internet. We'll leave that on. And the other NIC will allow us to communicate with our server, right? The server 2012. If you remember the server, okay, click OK. The server 2012, we set up a static IP address on it, right? If you've done that correctly. So what I want you to do next is I want you, after you've set that up, go and turn on Windows 7. And then when you do that, I want you to go to the NIC on the bottom. And we have to set it up for I disabled, by the way, the one that goes into the internet, and go to the one right next to it. Well, I'm already authenticated to the XYZ local. Um, so double click on that, go to properties, IPv4, and make sure that you type in the IP address, the static IP address 192.168.10.6. The mask should be, just hit the tab key. It'll be 255.255.255.0. The default gateway is 192.168.10.1, and use the DNS server 192.168.10.100. This is our server 2012 static IP address. If you remember when we did that, that's the IP address that we typed up there. Okay, you should click on OK, and now our PC and the server are on the same network. Our server has .200, I think, if I'm not mistaken, or .100, .100, and this guy got .6, and they're in the same network. Okay, so once that's done, you can get out of this, and they should be able. I want you to go to and type CMD, and then on here type ipconfig to confirm that you got your IP addresses. So take a screenshot of this as well to show that you have configured the PC correctly. Okay. Now, I want you to, this is how you can create it. You can have this PC join the xyz.local domain. So to do that, you click on Start, right click on Computer, and go to Properties. All right, and you go down here to change settings, and then you click on Change. All right, usually it should be typed in here. You should be clicked on the word group. So I want you to click on Domain and then type xyz.local and hit OK. Once you hit OK, it's going to take a little while for it to authenticate. Once it authenticates, it should say welcome to the XYZ domain. All right, and it's going to ask you to restart and log in. Once you log in, you'll be able to log in as the administrator. Okay, so as the administrator of the server that you have. So if I go back in here, you should be able to go back in here and go to the computers, and you should see your PC in there. All right, so that's how you can create an account by authenticating to the user. So and the last thing that I want you to do, I want you to make sure that you can take a snapshot of this, that you have authenticated and got into our server. So now that Win7PC has joined the XYZ network and you already created an account, computer and account for it right here. You can right click, and by the way, if you don't want, this is the most common way of creating computer accounts is you joining the PC just like we did, and it will automatically populate the computer account into the computer containers. If you don't want to do that, you can actually go into the computer container, right click on it, go to new, and you can create a new computer, give it a name, and just click OK. We're not going to do it that way, right? If you go to the computer, by the way, the computer itself, right click on it and go to properties. There's really not much you can do in there, other than the operating system. It's a Windows 7 professional. It's a member of this group, unless it's a member of these groups, the domain controller, and there's really not much that you can do right here when it comes to the computer itself. Here's our domain controller PCs. We only have one. Okay, that's the servers, and here are the users that we have in here. Now, you don't have to have these computers all the computer accounts under computer. So let's say you have a server in here for the engineering container. You can actually do right click on the PC if you want to move move this PC and move it into another user. So you can say click on it and you can go to move. Click move, and where do you want to move it? I want to move it to the users, let's say. Let's say, or the engineering container. So I click OK, and bingo. And it should be in here. Where is it? It's under when, right? And or you can write, the best way to do it, the way I like to do it is just click on it, click and drag and drop, oops, click, drag, and drop. And it says, hey, if you remove a user, just like I told you earlier, if you move a user from one container to another, you're going to lose all the inherited rights and permissions in that container, and you will then inherit all the rights and privileges of the other container. That's what this is telling you. So you say, yeah, I know that that's going to happen. I just click on yes, and now it's been moved. So there's two ways to move really computer accounts, or even users. You could do this from one container to another by drag and drop, really. Or you can do right click and go to move. What else do you need to know? You can delete, of course, a computer account by right click, deleting it. You can disable it. You can reset the account where they have to relog in next time or get authenticated. But that's pretty much it. Okay. So submit all the all the screenshots that I asked you to do, and on the bottom, write a summary on how to create a group account and how would you create a computer account and how that's pretty much it. That's a quick reflection of what to do. Okay, until the next video clip, next lesson, I'll talk to you later. Keep up the good work.